Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Tuesday. And first and foremost, as always, want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. Now, with all that being said, we all know that the Los Angeles Lakers were in action on yesterday, taking on none other than the OKC Thunder as the Lakers continue this month of January with the majority of their games being at home. We will not talk about that loss the other night with the Lakers headed out to Utah, in which LeBron James sat out due to a sore ankle. But the Lakers were unfortunately not able to pull off that victory. But one thing that did happen in the course of that game was D'Angelo Russell was able to get hot, and he put up quite a bit of points in that particular game. But we're not going to focus on that matchup because not only just because the Lakers lost, but because the Lakers improvement as they took on the Oklahoma City Thunder on yesterday. I think it's worth mentioning that Darvin Ham went back to the starting lineup that he actually had at the beginning of the year that he chose to come out of training camp with. And I think a lot of that was to do with that of Jared Vanderbilt being injured coming into the season. So as a result, he elected to go with Taurean Prince in that starting lineup. And just to be quite honest, Taurean Prince got off to a slow start to start the season. I know before the season, he guaranteed that he would shoot 40% from three, and it was not looking like he was going to do so. But the past, I would say, 14 to 15 games, he has really come on. He is the Lakers' leading three-point shooter in percentage and with number of three-point buckets made. So Taurean Prince has definitely stepped up, and I think is a reliable three-point shooter, and you have to respect the shot, especially when he gets into a rhythm. So I feel that him remaining in the starting lineup, you can't go wrong with that. You may want to do Vanderbilt when he's completely healthy, but Darvin Ham alluded to on yesterday that he wanted to surround the two captains, that of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, with the best possible scoring around them, because Anthony Davis is somebody who could demand a double team, which could get open shooters. LeBron James is someone who could still at his age demand a double team, who could, or even not a double team, a lot of attention and a lot of eyes on him when he's handling the ball. And he can create well for others. And we know Anthony Davis has been doing a good job of that as well, because the past few games, he's had like 5 or 6 assists. And on yesterday, he had 6 assists. And we're going to jump into that here in just a minute too. But the winning effect that the Lakers need is to put a lot of that load on Anthony Davis, and he has been coming through. And I think he's been nothing short of amazing. I think he's having a stellar year, very consistent, been making himself available to play in the majority of the games this year. Unfortunately, going back to what I was saying about the lineups, is Darvin Ham just hasn't been able to find any continuity in the lineup. And I think that is because, for one, like I said, you didn't have that lineup where you could use the Vanderbilt lineup that took you so far throughout the playoffs on last year, for one. So you had Taurean Prince. He was not in rhythm to start the year. He probably not used to being a starter coming over from Minnesota. So he worked his way into that starting lineup to get his legs under him and to be in that basketball shape. And now I think he's done excellent, not only on the offensive side of the floor, but on the defensive side of the floor. But then you had a Cam Reddish who was coming on, being an excellent wing defender, because you had Rui Hachimura hurt. So then you had Cam Reddish who stepped in, and he gained a lot of favor with Darvin Ham, so much so that he needed to go into the starting lineup. And not only that, I hate to fail to mention that Austin Reeves to start the season was not playing good basketball at all. He's went into a much better stretch now. Recently, he has a bit of struggles, but that is typical of a player to have somewhat of an up and down season, depending on how young that player is and how much he tends to get his legs under him as well. But Austin Reeves started off not so well, and he was relegated to the bench early on in the season. They said just to get a spark off of the bench, and that kind of worked for a minute. But of course, the Lakers, through the in-season tournament, did very well. But since the in-season tournament went, 3-13, 3-12 out of 15 games, was not looking good for them at all, going on quite the downward spiral. And one thing I do want to point out about the Lakers is it seems like they play up and down to their competition. When they play teams like OKC, look what the outcome is. When they play teams like the Clippers, They're 2-0 against the Clippers this year. Look what the outcome is. When they play teams like Minnesota, very close games. But then they get into games with teams like Orlando, Chicago, not taking anything away from Miami, but Miami, teams like that where they're not playing very good defense. And I see then Darvin Ham wants to come with a different lineup to where he really didn't have a point guard aside for LeBron James, which I was a proponent of that because I think LeBron James is probably the best ball handler and playmaker on the team as it sits. But me, I will say this, and I've been very hard on D'Angelo Russell as of late, just because if I say, he's a complete liability on defense. I said he's not able to break down offenses and get to the basket and create for others, as well as most point guards in this league, because he does lack athleticism. But one thing I do want to retract, I don't want to say retract completely, but he stepped up on the defensive side of the floor, even though he's not just the greatest point attack defender or on-ball defender, as we call it. He has found a way to get in the passing lanes, get ball deflections, get steals, running out on threes. I see his energy. If he goes around a pick, I see him fighting over screens. I see him closing out on three-point shooters when the ball rotates around. So, I want to give props out to him because when he got sent to the bench, he could have held his head down low, but he's been playing great. And one thing I noticed, him and LeBron James are starting to develop a bit of a chemistry together, and I think maybe in his head he did not like playing with LeBron James only because he felt like LeBron, is going to demand the ball and can't play off the ball. But as we can see, LeBron as of late has been playing wonderful off the ball. LeBron James, so many cuts, so many dives to the baskets. And at one point, you even saw D-Lo hit him with the I see you and hit LeBron. Nice pass in motion with LeBron. Easy backdoor cut. And I think LeBron James, out of his 25 points on yesterday, I think LeBron James, maybe 8 of those points could have been just off-ball cuts to the basket that was easy for him. And, that's something that people say LeBron James can't do. And speaking of things that people keep saying that LeBron James can't do, y'all keep saying he can't defend. He's too old to defend. I will say, yes, at times he doesn't get back on defense because he has to conserve energy for the game because of how old he is, for one, and for two, how much of an offensive load that he has to carry for the team. But also, he picks and chooses. If there's a fast break where he feels like, even if I get back, it's not going to mean anything that they're going to finish, then what's the purpose of running back down? When you're 22, 23, 24, 25, even 30, do that. This man 39 years old. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Look at the graphic right here. Look at the graphic. If you look at it, LeBron James is leading the league in percentage of the lowest defensive percentage of people who shoot against him. So you're talking about when LeBron James is guarding a particular player, they're averaging 41% from the field. So that means LeBron James is doing his job as far as being on defense. And you saw that the other night when he played against Kawhi Leonard. You saw that in help defense tonight on yesterday against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I want to give mad shouts out to Vando. I think Vando got to start getting more minutes. I think he finally getting his legs up under him because Vando on yesterday only played 18 or 19 minutes. If you look at his stat line, only 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, but he was 2 out of 2. But the big thing was he was everywhere with deflection, steals, fast break points, and just energy, creating extra possessions for the Lakers, not just on rebounds, but on tip passes and on everything. So, and then you have to realize the defense that he was playing on SGA was phenomenal. And I think for the Lakers to be successful, when you go into the playoffs or you go into the finals, you look at a team like, let's say, a Milwaukee Bucks. If the Lakers were to face them in the finals, you're going to need a Vando to disrupt a Damian Lillard. You're going to need that. If you still face a Denver team, you're going to need him to disrupt a Jamal Murray. You understand me? If you're going to face just so many teams in the West is deep. But at the end of the day, if the Lakers can play defense like the way they played when they play good opponents and they hold them to 105 points, that's phenomenal in today's game. And we saw that the Lakers did prevail 112 to 105. The Lakers were very balanced on offense. You had 6 players in double digits in scoring on yesterday. But let's talk more about AD. AD, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 9 out of 17, 53% shooting. More importantly, AD, 9 out of 10 from the free throw line. And I think AD is being aggressive and is getting to the line a lot more than what he had been doing, which is showing his aggression. And I mean, if he's shooting 90% from the free throw line, I know on the season he's shooting about 80%, which is good. But, 9 out of 10 on yesterday at 90%, a +8 on the floor, 38 minutes. Man, AD putting in work. And then you look at LeBron James played 38 minutes, a lot of those minutes alongside AD. Some of those minutes, of course, staggered early on in the fourth quarters, they tend to do, and early in the second quarters, they tend to do when AD typically gets his rest at the beginning of the second and the fourth quarter. Now, LeBron James, 25, 7, and 6 on yesterday. Got it slow. I think he only had 4 or 6 points in the first half, but got it going in the second half. Shot 12 out of 20 from the field, 60% from the field. He was 1 out of 2 from 3 for 50%. But think about this. LeBron James only shot 1 free throw in 38 minutes on yesterday. He went to the basket time and time again. I saw contact. I saw some things that should have been an and one. Saw LeBron James getting hit on the arm and things of that nature. But hey, it is what it is. LeBron James just doesn't get a lot of free throw calls as he should, in my opinion. Now I want to talk about D'Lo. D'Lo, I think he's playing a lot better than what he had been playing. He's playing a little bit better on defense. On yesterday, he needs to get his percentage up better. Yesterday, he was still 5 out of 12, only 42%, but he was 2 out of 7 from 3. That's only 29%, but the threes were timely, and they came at great opportune times when LeBron James, I remember, found him once in the corner right when OKC was making a run. So every time OKC would try to make a run, the Lakers simply would just not let them back in the game. It was a close game, and at one point in the third quarter, OKC, I think, took a 6 or 7 point lead, but the Lakers went on like a 10-12-0 run, and then they never looked back. Got to give shouts out to Rui Hachimura on yesterday, too, and that's another thing that the Lakers have been lacking, just because Rui had several injuries this year, from the eye contusion to the knee to the, I think, concussion protocol, but if Rui can get consistent, Rui shot the highest percentage from three-point last year in the playoffs. Not just for the Lakers, but for the entire NBA, at the highest three-point percentage in the playoffs, because he was really getting that stroke going for a minute. And Rui on yesterday, 12 points, 3 rebounds, didn't have any assists, but LeBron James found him on some things. And one thing I like about Rui, and I know when Cam comes back, because Darvin Ham, he needs to stick to this lineup, and I dare say maybe Gabe Vincent doesn't need playing time when he comes back. When you get something good going, don't try to force, because he signed to a contract, don't try to force him in. Let him be coming in for D'Lo if D'Lo gets injured or something like that, because I like this shortened rotation that the Lakers are playing. When Cam comes back, don't necessarily put him back in the starting lineup. Keep this what you got. Then you can still have him coming off the bench and having that continuity with LeBron playing in those different lineups as well, even with Austin, just depending on how you do it when you do the bench play. But Rui Hachimura, I think he needs to get at least 20, 25 minutes a game. Maybe it's time that Jackson Hayes not get any more minutes. So, Christian Wood has been playing excellent. I like him in a 10-man rotation. So if you shorten it to an 8 to 9-man rotation in the playoffs, but for the regular season right now, go ahead and start D'Lo if he can continue to play like that. He doesn't necessarily have to play heavy minutes. It just depends on the matchups. But if he can be consistently an offensive threat and LeBron James can get him open looks and he can make, I like when he's a standstill shooter from the three-point line. I don't like so much when he tries to dribble, create, and step back like he James Harden. That's really not who he is when it comes to him shooting threes. But if LeBron James finds him and he's open, I have a lot of faith that he can knock down open threes when he has his feet set, So I feel like, having D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and Taurean Prince, like Darvin Ham said, is a good point. You have some offensive threats around your two captains, and we know what Anthony Davis provides on defense. We know what he provides as far as rebounding is concerned. Christian Woods, he only played a few minutes on last night, maybe 10 to 12 minutes, but Christian Woods, in that short time, he played 14 minutes. He was 4 out of 7, shot 57%. He was 1 out of 2 from 3. He had 11.7 rebounds and an assist. So I think if you get that 10-man rotation to D'Lo, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Taurean Prince, that's a good way to start it. And then off the bench, you could still have Rui Hachimura, Cam Reddish, Vando, and of course Christian Wood. And then maybe you can squeeze Gabe Vincent in there if possible, if Gabe comes back and is playing good basketball, because I think Gabe Vincent does play a little more on-ball defense better than D'Angelo Russell, but you want to keep the continuity. And the sad thing about it now, you're approaching the trade deadline, and I know the Lakers always want to do something to shake things up. And at this point, I'm not so sure. Unless you can trade D'Angelo Russell and get back a good piece in return, I wouldn't shake it up too much, because pretty much aside from Shooter, you have all the key components that took you to the Western Conference Finals on last year. So, I just want to see the Lakers continue to do so. Let's just see how they play in their next few games. If the Lakers can go on a 5, 6, 7 game win streak, then I think that'll quiet things down some, and then players can regain their confidence and get into a rhythm. When you look at it on yesterday, the defense that was played, SGA only 9 out of 19, only 24 points. Man, they did a great job. Chet Holmgren in 30 minutes was 4 out of 9. Got in some early foul trouble, was a -8. SGA was a -12. You got to give props to the Lakers defense, man. You got all those young guys like Dort, Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams, Giddey. It's a reason why they are where they are. They're very energetic, athletic, and a very well-coached team, capable of hitting outside shots. The Lakers out-rebounded them by 44-40 on yesterday. Had 30 assists, which is good, which means they're showing ball movement and getting good shots. The Lakers, the key stat that stood out to me on yesterday was the Lakers 64-44 points in the paint. So, shouts out to them. The Lakers, are going to continue to be at home these next few games. And if they can continue to play the way that they're playing now, I got a lot of faith that they can get this thing turned around even before the trade deadline. So, man, if you haven't done so already, y'all know what to do. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe, and hit that bell. And as always, man, this has been your boy B New. I'm saying right on to the real, and much love to these haters. I'm out.